Jennifer Vera creates compelling digital brand identities and unique brand positioning for creators, thought leaders, and impact entrepreneurs. She's known as an innovative, strategic, and energetic creative. Her unique blend of business strategy, brand positioning, and creativity activate clients to step into their vision with clarity, direction, and passion. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on the show.
Well, thank you for being here. And, of course, brand positioning is one of the hottest topics today because people really don't know what to do with their brand, and they're all over the place. So this is your area of expertise. So we have a lot of questions for you. And the first one being, what do you see the trend being with digital brands? And I'm not sure everybody listening would know what a digital brand is, so why don't you explain that and then tell us about the trend?
Absolutely. Well, it's 2015. We're going into 2016. So if you don't have a brand that lives online, which is what I would call a digital brand, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. In terms of the trends that I see with any brand, what I see going on is a lot of niching down, and it is because we are living in such a digital world where I can Google exactly what I was in Washington, D.C., right? And I was Googling vegan samosas, and I can find vegan samosas, which is a very niche thing. And so that is one of the biggest trends that I see. A lot of times we hear the phrase, the riches are in the niches, and a strong brand positioning has you niche down in order to penetrate the market, and then you can expand over time.
You offer something, though, called brand alignment. And yes. I hear a lot about alignment, both alignment not only, in a brand, but also in your mind and also in business and also with your clients and customers. So what does it look like when a brand is aligned, and what does that really mean?
That's a great question. Brand alignment is really having an alignment in terms of your brand values and understanding what that is, and it being aligned with every single piece of your business, from how your client interacts with you, from how you show up on your website, you show up with your clients, you show up in your relationships with them, and the value that your product or service delivers. And so going more into brand alignment, the biggest value, especially for those entrepreneurs that are starting out or maybe delivering something new, the biggest value to working with someone, a branding expert, is that clarity. And that's something that so many times as entrepreneurs, and I've been guilty of this myself, we have so many things going on, and oh my gosh, I need to be blogging, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that. And if you don't have what I call pillars, 3 strong pillars of knowing I do A, B, C, you're not going to be able to turn away very clearly the D, E, F, or X, Y, Z. And that's going to have you scattered all over the place, and you're not going to be able to build an aligned brand. You're not going to be able to build something that is viewed by consumers or by your clients as delivering consistently, consistent value, consistent service, consistent support, and you're going to be building something that can be really, really confusing. So I say, the biggest value that I can deliver to anyone listening right now is definitely niche down and have a really strong niche and a strong positioning, and have a very strong alignment in terms of your values, exactly what you deliver, and you can deliver it across all fronts and across all touch points with folks. Like I always say the same thing. It's a confused consumer does not buy. And that's super important to know. So if you yourself don't have clarity on your brand, it's going to be incredibly difficult for anyone else to view you and view your brand as something where they know they can go to. And I can expound on that a little bit more if we have the time. But pretty much it's like saying I'm a life coach, and you meet me at a networking event and I say, hey, what do you do? I'm a life coach. Oh, okay, cool, you're a life coach. You're never going to think of me again, as opposed to me saying, I am a life coach dedicated to working with teen girls that are ages 13 to 17 that are dealing with eating disorders. You're going to be like, you know what? I have a friend whose daughter has been kind of dealing with something. You're going to know exactly who to refer to me. And that, again, is the power of having a really, really strong niche. And in that niche, I can speak on all fronts. And on my website, in my marketing materials, I can speak to that one person. And so that's kind of what alignment means, having on all fronts messaging aligned with exactly what the service that you deliver is.
So basically, I mean, you work primarily with personal brands and authors and coaches. Mm-hmm. And I assume that you've decided on that niche for a particular reason. However, I would think there are also ones who may have lack of clarity in terms of really niching down to their greatest strength. And I'm sure that's because they think, well, how can I make a living out of this one little tiny niche? Mm-hmm. So what is your thinking on that?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of I meet the most resistance from my clients on the niche issue because I'll just keep using the life coach example. I can be like, I want to work with all women. I don't just want to work with, women from this age that are dealing with this specific issue. I want to help everyone. And a lot of times, my particular niche, authors, coaches, speakers, we're all we all give service and we all want to empower and impact the world and help others, right? That's kind of the business that we're in. We're delivering some value through our knowledge, through our expertise. And so niching down can be really scary because you think that you're closing doors to a lot of people, but what you're doing is you're actually delivering a more effective, higher value service to a very specific group of people. And if you're delivering a higher value service, then guess what? You can charge more because you're specializing in something, right? And then guess what? If you're charging more, you can have a bigger impact. You can grow your business. You can scale your business. And then you can go a little bit more general because you will have the means to do that. And so that's what I always suggest. But I mean, niching down is hard. And another thing I will say is, this is something that my business coach says all the time. She says, you cannot see the label of the jar that you are in. And I find it to be so true. You might not know what your special sauce is, so to speak. You might not know exactly you might know your subject matter really, really well, but you may not be able to articulate it to an outsider. And that's where a branding expert really comes in.
That's interesting because, so basically what you're saying is niche tighter, charge more, and as the revenue comes in, you can broaden what you're doing because you already have your base, and as long as you have your base, then you can grow from there. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one way of doing it. That's one model. Oh, and oftentimes you might find that niche is incredibly, that you want to stay in that niche and continue to grow deeper within that niche. It just depends on the evolution of your business. And, the beautiful thing is, as entrepreneurs and in business, we niche down and we might realize, hey, you know what? This niche is it's not working for me. But you have a client that, you just love working with, and that becomes your ideal client. Well, what is it about this client? What do I like about this client? And then it might lead you to other things. So it's never a bad idea because you will figure it out but the idea is to get kind of your positioning and your business going so that you have the space and the comfort level and the financial comfort level to figure that out.
So what creates a compelling personal brand?
Authenticity, being really real and being someone that others can relate to. And in order to do that, you have to have a certain uniqueness. I was having a conversation the other day. I think what creates anything compelling or anything interesting to human beings in general, whether it be an art piece or whether it be a brand, I think juxtapositions are very, very interesting. And I think we have so many juxtapositions unique to ourselves. So compelling personal brands are very, very real. I think that they're very honest, and they have something to say, and they're opinionated. And, this is also with the niche conversation, like, being opinionated is going to make you say no to other people, because not everyone is going to be attracted to your opinions. But the people that are going to say, like, oh my gosh, this woman or this man, they really know what's going on. They really, I love what they're saying. You don't get people that love you if you're making general comments or if you're playing it safe. You're not going to create super fans. You're not going to create people that are going to tell all their friends about you because they're so in love with you. The only thing that creates that is that authenticity and that saying what you mean, having your opinions, and those opinions being in line with your brand and your brand positioning. If your brand is all about having integrity, if it's all about, let's say you have a brand about how to stop lying, compulsively lying, you really need to be honest in everything that you say, right? Or if you have a financial brand, right, that is all about creating wealth, you have to have a lot of integrity for with your finances to have that and speak very honestly about that. So I think compelling brands can be bold, and I think they're very honest, and I think they're very authentic, and that authenticity creates a very consistent voice, and that voice can be through your social media, through your website, through whatever marketing materials, whatever interviews you do. People have a sense of what to expect from you in terms of what you're going to say, and that creates fans, that creates followers.
Well, now, you talk about aspects of a brand working together.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I understand, or our listeners would understand, what aspect you're talking about. So, when people think of a brand, they think of a logo, they may think of your topic or your area of service or whatever. But what are the things that you're referring to when you say, how do aspects of a brand work together?
Yeah, aspects of a brand are all of those things, right? It's from the moment that a client, any outward-facing thing, external-facing thing that a client or a potential client can interface with or can interact with, that is a part of your brand. Whether it be the person if you have a store, whether it be the girl that you have behind the counter delivering customer service, guess what? She's a part of your brand because that's a client interacting with your particular brand, right? That goes, in the digital world, that's your logo. Those are your brand visuals. The corporate colors, even down to the fonts that you use, your social media, your website, your any client interaction that they might have, any way that they might be able to experience your brand, that's all of it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And I assume that people know their niche that they should choose, although maybe they don't, but I mean, you certainly know what area you're an expert in.
Right.
So, what do you think the value is of knowing your own brand positioning? Or would I be better off going to someone like you and saying, I don't have a clue. I mean, I don't know what I want to say. I don't know how I want to present myself. Do you have any ideas? I mean, what's the best way to do this?
The best way to do it is, I'm going to be biased, right, and say to work with someone like me. No, but really the truth is you have all the answers within yourself. All that I do is I extract that from someone, excuse me. So when I work with people, I'm not telling them, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z. I'm asking smart questions. I'm asking the questions that are going to get them to make decisions and to activate that niche, activate that brand, and to commit to it. That's what I do. But I can't go, because I work with all sorts of, authors, coaches that speak on all sorts of different subject matters, right? All sorts of personal brands. I don't know